Alright. Hopefully that's working. I don't know why that's moving. There we go. Alright, what's up, everybody? This is Swanky Games on YouTube. Give me one quick second, and then we'll get started. Cool. We are good to go. Alright, as I was saying, welcome to my video, my guide, my tutorial. I am Swanky Games, otherwise known as Majin Swank on PlayStation. Welcome. So I've been debating on doing this for a while now, because Tekken 8 is kind of on its way. We got reveals and stuff like that. And I felt like at this point, it would be fairly useless to make a Zafina tutorial. But we probably still have a little over a year, give or take, before Tekken 8 is released. And I wanted to show a little bit of love to a character that I feel strongly deserves more love than she's been getting from a lot of people. Which is Zafina. She's a very interesting character, to say the least. She's very unique. And it's just like, I feel like she's just not getting the love and respect that she deserves. And when I went online to see if there was any tutorials and whatnot, the only things I could find were from like when she first came out, or like just like some minor things that were adjusted in season 4 and stuff like that. I think one guy did a fairly decent tutorial, Frame Whisperer. He seemed to have done a pretty decent job, from what I could tell. So I wanted to do this my way, pretty much. Break everything down bit by bit and give you guys the full scope of the character, so that hopefully you guys can get a better understanding of the character. And for some people who want to get into the character, it would maybe help break the ice a little bit and get you guys kind of in the right direction. And for some people who want to pick her up that are maybe a little bit more advanced, this should also help. And who knows, maybe if you've played her for a while, maybe there'll be a couple things you don't know as well. There's actually quite a few things that you may not know unless you did it on accident or you played Tag 2 or 6. But we'll see. So let's go over her game plan. She's very evasive, and she's fairly rush down, poke heavy character. She's like a turtle on steroids, pretty much. Like you got Elisa and a few other characters like her that excel at turtling. Lee, maybe, which is like, minor pokes throughout the time to kind of like chip away at your opponent's health. Zafina does that kind of on steroids, and she can do it while also having defense in her moves. Most notably, a lot of high crushing moves. But just like with anybody else, you can play her multiple different ways. You can play her pressure heavy. She does have fairly decent combos. Not the greatest. You're not going to get very much in terms of death combos with her, but you can get some pretty beefy combos with her. And you can play her pretty defensively as well. She does have a couple minor things, which I wanted to actually add that. Where'd I put it? Okay, there it is. Okay. So, sorry about that. So I got myself a little cheat sheet kind of sort of thing, kind of keep me on track. So, just like in my previous tutorial with Horong, I'm going to kind of stick to the same guidelines. I want to I want to talk about 3 big strengths and 3 big weaknesses. These aren't necessarily the best or worst in any particular order. It's just as I've played with Zafina, I've noticed these can tend to be the big ones. So for her first big strength is probably her biggest one, and that's her evasiveness. For example, her movement alone is second to none. I think her sidestep is like second best, next to Lily. I think. Don't quote me. I'm not 100%. But her backdash is one of the best in the game, just by itself, which I think is really really nice. And she has a lot of evasiveness in her moves. For example, hold on. Sorry about that. Anyways, for example, down 3, which is one of her big moves that I'm sure a lot of people have seen, is strongly high crushes fairly comfortably. Another move, back 1+2. Again, high crushes. Down back 2, a good move. Kind of crushes, and it kind of has like a weird sidestep, or not sidestep, but like, I don't know. It definitely high crushes. So stuff like that can, throw people off. So you can go like down forward 1, get your negative frames, and then do something like this when they think that they're good to go. And let them know that they're not good to go. Which brings us to our second big strength, which is her pressure, her rush down. So she doesn't necessarily rely on her stances as much as other characters do. But if you can learn to transition into her stances pretty comfortably, you can flowchart into some pretty, crazy pressure situations. One of her best ones being like 1-3. It's a 10 frame move, so you can punish with it. And on hit is +7, which is like perfect. +7 is perfect because she has this move, which is 1+2. So if after you punish with this, you do 1+2. If they try to attack, even if it trades with a jab, it's in your favor. For example, you see, like even that ended up missing. So, or let me see. There we go. Okay, I just wanted to see. I just see, like, even though it traded, it was in my favor, or in Zafina's favor. So that's why, and that's one of her big counter hit launches we'll get into later. But so it's those kinds of setups and things like that. Come on.
I'll get them later.
Lay down. Come on, baby. Nikita, come on. Come on. Now lay down. Good girl. All right. Sorry about that. Sister's just letting the dogs in so she can go back to work. So anyways, yeah, so getting back to the rushdown, or pressure, if you will. So she's not like some characters, like she's not going to do pressure for a long periods of time, but something like this, or down 3 by itself, like I mentioned before, it gives you +4. You have a lot of moves that where your opponent has to respect those frames. So, don't know who that is. And then the next one is kind of the same as pressure. Might be a little bit different. Is her poking itself. So this is where the turtling I mentioned. So she has a lot of good moves like 1-3, for example, by itself. Even with when you cancel, is a good poke on its own. Down back 3. Down forward 1, arguably one of my favorite moves from her. And I don't usually care for down forward 1s all too much. They're all usually pretty generic. But I have found myself using them more. And I do feel like hers is one of the more useful ones. Up forward 1, forward 4, so on and so on. Just like little 1-2 hit, little touches to kind of keep your opponent on their toes, turtle them, if you will. So those are big strengths. So evasiveness, pressure, and poking. So it's very, very easy to be defensive and kind of like turtle your opponent on steroids, basically. It's really hard to explain that without going into like extensive detail. If I do that, we'll be here all day. So we'll go ahead and get into our weaknesses. So just like with a lot, now this one isn't as bad as some other characters, but just like with most stance heavy, pressure heavy characters, kind of sort of, she is susceptible to a lot of linearity, or and that's just like some small stuff. She does have ways to mitigate that pretty well, though. Like, even one of her best get-in tools, forward 4, itself is a homing move, -8 on blocks. So it's not as bad. But when you're up here trying to pressure, her linearity can be kind of the death of her, a little bit. Like I mentioned. Yeah, okay. So, some moves, just like you saw, they do have tracking to one side or another. But for the most part, a lot of her moves don't track to very much at all. If you don't know that, you wouldn't know where to sidestep. But I always generically go kind of towards her stomach. It usually works. But the next thing is her punishment. It's not bad. It's just not good, especially her while rising punishment. She really only has 2 you're ever going to use, which is her while rising 4, which we'll get it more into later. But and her launch, and that's pretty much it. And then while standing, she only has like 3 actual options, or 4, I guess. Her standing punishment is decent, but nothing outstanding. For example, 13 frame is this, which is good, but there are other characters that get significantly better, better situations. She does get pretty decent frame advantage, but aside from that, it's nothing fantastic. She does get this, which is nice. Again, it's just something about her punishment. It just seems like it's very lacking. But it's not bad. Like, there's definitely characters that are worse, for sure. But there's definitely, like, a strong amount of the cast that are better. And with that, her last big... This is probably the biggest weakness, in my opinion. Is a lot of her key moves are punishable. So basically, like, arguably her best move is down 4-2. And this move is minus 12. So all of her moves are either punishable or duckable. Most of them. I should be a little bit more specific. For example, this move, which is a really great move. I love this move. It's very rarely let me down, but it is a mid high. Same with like 4-2-3 is a mid high. It's one of my favorite moves. But it's a mid high, can be ducked, and then like I said, down 4-2 is punishable. 1+2 is punishable. Back 1+2 is punishable. Launch punishable specifically. Back 1 is punishable. So a lot of her like key tools where she's in your face if you don't know what you're doing exactly is really punishable. There are ways to get around that. Again, first of all, a lot of people don't know Zafina very well, which is something I'm hoping to change a little bit. So you might get away with a little bit, but a lot of her moves, especially like the down 4-2, like I mentioned, is is punishable. And people like Mishma's, Gigas, Akuma, characters with strong 10-frame moves, you're gonna have to change your whole game plan because of that. Well, not really. You just got to be more careful with it, really. But those are really it as far as her strengths and weaknesses. Her weaknesses aren't the worst. Like, keep in mind, Zafina is a very strong character, and her weaknesses aren't as bad as other characters' weaknesses. But as far as like things she's lacking in compared to her strength, those would be her big three. So take it how you will. So her weakest stuff aren't that bad, in my opinion. But I do notice that tends to be it. Next we're going to talk about her getting into her stances. I feel like that's probably the most important before getting into a character with multiple stances. You want to talk about her main stances. So this is her neutral stance. Basically, in any stance you get hit or block or whatever, you're gonna default back into the stance. That's just it. And then you got her first big stance is a scarecrow. In my opinion, this is her more aggressive stance. You can't block in this stance. You can move around. You can sidestep, backdash. If you actually tap up and down, you can actually move forward fairly quick. Let me show you. Like, fairly quick. And you can sidestep. The sidestepping isn't great, but like it's not fast, but it's a pretty big sidestep for being in a stance. It's actually pretty decent. Her forward and back movement isn't great, but the side movement is pretty substantial. It's just the only downside is you're never really gonna be in a situation where you're wanting to use it, unless they're like your opponent's back to the wall. You're trying to like maybe do a combo and trying to like change the axis a little bit. But aside from that, probably not. Her second big, you're gonna do that with 3+4. There's other ways to get into the stances. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Her next big stance is Mantis. That's down 3+4. When you're in Scarecrow, you can also hit down 3+4 to get into Mantis. She'll do that thing she did, which I think is kind of cool, but just more or less a gimmick. So But Mantis itself, I consider this kind of like the defining thing. Like, this is her poking, not super aggressive, evades quite a bit, not most mids as much as definitely highs, and she can block in this stance. This is the only stance that she can block in. And just like in Scarecrow, she can sidestep, backdash, or, you know, let me see if I can't do this. Like, it's not super fast, but she can move. Just like when she's in Scarecrow, you can move around like that. Pretty cool. And then our last stance is Tarantula, and you do that with down 1+2. In this stance, this is kind of like your minor pokes. Minor pokes kind of wig your opponent out a little bit. This doesn't really have a lot of utility, but there are a couple good moves we'll get into later. And unlike the other two stances, she can only move one direction, which is forward in this stance. Which I should also mention, in Mantis specifically, if you hit 2+3, you can actually turn around. This is a big thing, in my opinion, because say your opponent jumps over you, or you do like a combo, you end in Mantis, and they end up behind you. You can hit 2+3 and turn around and readjust yourself. So I felt like that was a big thing to note. And those are her stances. She doesn't have anything else, so it's just those three main stances. So we're going to go ahead and get into her key moves. Her first one being 1-3. I think this is a very, very good move. It's 10 frame move. If you don't hit anything, she goes into Scarecrow. It's probably the most aggressive way to get into Scarecrow without putting yourself in a lot of risk. On block, it's -2, which isn't that big of a deal, all things considered. But on hit, you get that +7, which is really what you want. Again, so unlike other characters where, you know, pressure equals plus frames on block, this one, it's not really the case. You kind of put yourself in a situation where on block, you kind of going for a 50-50 between a low and maybe a mid. Nothing too major. But I think this is a good tool. It's not the greatest tool, but it's 10 frames, so it's fast. It's the easiest way to get into Scarecrow fairly safely. And getting into your opponent's face, it's just a good move overall, in my opinion. Oh yeah, and so if you cancel it, which you can do by holding back during the animation, as you can see on hit, it's +1, which isn't great, and on block is -8. So it's almost always favorable to go into stance, but if you're trying to keep it more compact and just like poke heavy, that's one thing to note as well. You can just hold back and just leave it at that, leave it to the poking. Our next move is going to be 1+2. This is a ridiculous move. Now keep in mind, on block, this hit is -12, but it has extensions, which we'll get into in a second. But this is her big counter hit launcher from neutral. It's 16 frames, as you guys notice, but it's like our big counter hit launch. Oh, my bad. Usually you can get something bigger than that. I'm guessing I'm probably just drawing a blank because I don't know. But usually something like that. Usually mid-60s. Not too bad. but that's like one of her big counter hit launchers from standing. Keep in mind that her combo damage isn't the greatest from standing, but if you can get combos from most of her other stances, aside from a couple exceptions, she can actually get some pretty ridiculous damage. But we'll get into that later. But she has extensions in the form of 1, 2, 1 plus 2, 4, and then also 1 plus 2, 4, 4. So this whole thing is every single hit on this has the potential to launch. So, for example, there we go. For example, every single hit in this has the potential to launch. The first hit and the second hit can counter hit launch for some pretty decent damage. Oh, my bad. Pretty decent damage overall. And then if you're paying attention, like I said, either way, you can always get some pretty decent damage from it no matter what. You just gotta kind of know what to look for. Oh, my bad. For example. So the first hit is minus 12. That's not great. But most people aren't going to punish you for that because of the follow-up. The second hit is only minus 10 on block, which isn't terrible. And then the second kick is minus 11, which you guys already saw. Now, unfortunately, between the two kicks, you can't be jabbed out of it, which is, like I said, is unfortunate. But so you'll mix between the first hit and the second hit, and you just kind of mix between the two. But you'll still be surprised. I'm a Ryujin with Zafina, and I throw 1 plus 2 out all the time, all day and night, and nobody has ever punished me for it. Ever. They've punished me for 1 plus 2, 4, but never 1 plus 2 by itself. I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but, yeah. I've never been punished for it. I'm sure it'll happen eventually, though. Her next big key move, in my opinion, is her down forward 1. I don't usually put down forward 1s in as key moves, but in Zafina case, it really is the case. Because of her extensions and its super low hitbox. So like characters like Lei and Eddie, who tend to lay on the ground for the most part, this will pick them up pretty comfortably too. So this by itself is just ridiculous for that reason alone. And then, yeah, a couple extensions. You have down forward 1, 4, which is a great move in my opinion. As far as a Punisher is concerned, it's very meh, but as a move on its own, it's really good. The only downside is it's a mid-high, it can be ducked, but overall, it's a very good move. But for those people who decide to get, what's the word? Challenging, you have another extension, which is down forward 1, 2. Now, these secondary punches, second and third punches, they're all minus 13. So you kind of but So with this, you're gonna do down forward 1-2. And if the last hit, which is very delayable, by the way, like this is what it looks like at full speed. And this is what it looks like. This is how much you can delay it. Like you can delay it a lot. You can literally and it's not uncommon to see to get it counter hit. That's another big strength Zafina has. She has a really good way of knocking opponents down and getting free damage. It's a very big thing with her. Down 4-1's really, really good. Down 4-1 by itself is -5. So usually what I like to do is I'll throw this out and see what they do. I might mix it up with down 4-1-4 as like a kind of a knowledge check to see if they're ducking. If they're not, then you can throw this out all day. But if they are, what I like to do is I'll maybe do a down forward 1 and then a back 1 +2, or a down forward 1 and then a forward 1 +2. Just kind of to see what's going on, see what happens. Or down forward 1, sidestep, whatever. It just depends on the situation. But -5, it's very on kind of problematic side of a down forward 1. But because of her extensions, it's really not that big of a deal. Down forward 1-4 is -6. Again, not too bad. And then, as I mentioned, her second and third punches are both -13. So you want to be very, very careful. Past that, her next big key move is going to be her down forward 2. A very, very good move. It's -12 on block, and it's 16 frames to come out, so it's slower than a typical down forward 2, but it's got amazing high crush properties, and you can get pretty decent damage. Usually get about low 60s, really. Low 60s, not too bad. And you can get other stuff too, like one combo I've been doing recently. It just gets you that one extra point of damage. I'm not going to worry about it. But it gets you like an extra point of damage, and like when it comes to like rage combos and stuff like that, you can get quite a bit of damage for doing that. So it's kind of nice. Her next move is going to be down 3. This is like a big move for Zafina, and even some of the bigger named Tekken players are worried, don't like this move because it's too good. It's 22 frames to come out, so it's a little on the seeable side, so you don't want to get predictable with it. But aside from that, it is a great low. Again, it's +4 on hit. It's -13 on block if you go into stance. If you don't go into stance, it's +2 on hit, and it's -15 on block. So if you don't go into stance and it gets blocked, a lot of the characters will be able to launch you for it. But if you go into stance, if you don't go into stance, a lot of people will be able to launch you for it. If you go into stance, only a few will be able to launch you for it. I might have said it the right way. I just lost my train of thought. But down 3 is a great, great tool. Cannot underestimate a good down 3. That is in the wrong spot. Hopefully I don't. It don't matter. Her next big move is going to be down back 3. This is an okay tool. If you're poking, it's a great tool. If you're just trying to poke, it's a great, great tool. So if you just hit and you go into stance, it's +3. If you don't go into stance, it's neutral. If you don't go into stance, it's minus 11. And if you go into stance, it's minus 8. But you're in Scarecrow and you can't block, so it's really not any different. It just means that whatever they do is not going to be an official punish. But it's not too bad of a move. Like I said, it's 18 frames to come out. There's actually a particular combo. Oh yeah. So that what I showed you before, 1 + 2, 4, 4. This will pick up for the follow-up combo. Next move is going to be back 1. This move is ridiculous. Now it is punishable at minus 14, but you can do this from like way back here. It's mostly for like a whiff punish, in my opinion. If you're just trying to be cheeky, if you could get the just frame right, it's 50 damage. Pretty good, pretty good. You're usually going to use this as a combo ender more than just standing out in the open. When this first came out, when Zafina was first released, this move was more strict as far as frame advantage, the frames you had to push the button, but you got more damage for it. But they ended up nerfing that and giving you more frames to work with, which I preferred it the older way, but this is more viable, I suppose. So as much as I don't like it, it is more useful because of it. So you can kind of throw this out. A lot of people don't punish properly. I don't know why. So you'll be surprised how often you can get away with this. As long as you're not fighting somebody like maybe Paul, Law, Brian, etc., with 14 frame launch punishes. It's not usually going to be too bad. You just got to be careful. It's one of those things. Is like, who are you fighting? What are they doing? Kind of situations. Not too bad. Her next big key tool is going to be back 1 + 2. So, as you can see on hit, this is -2. And on block, it's -17. So most of the cast is going to be able to launch you for this. So why with those frames is this a big move? It's because it's super freaking evasive. This will go over every high, a lot of mids. And it'll interrupt a lot of plus frame like situations, or like flowchart situations. I feel like it's a very, very good move in and of itself. And just because you're at -2 don't mean much. You can try to continue pressure if you want to. I've seen people do this, you know, they'll do it twice, or they'll do one down, or back 1 + 2 and then up 4 1 + 2. That's kind of like a mix-up. I think that's bad, but I've seen it, and I've seen it work, so it's an option. So it's one of those things you want to be careful with, but this is a very big round ender, and you know, there's a lot of situations where you can use it. It's pretty nice, I think. 4-4-3. This is a very nice move. The only downside to this move is that it's a bit linear. Oh, I wanted to cancel that. As you can see, it's a bit linear and it's a little slow to come out, so it can be interrupted. But if you can condition your opponent and pull it off, on hit, you get that +9.
Nikita, come on.
Bye.
You're gonna have to keep them.
That's fine. Bye. Good night. Sorry about that. 4-4-3. Yeah, so on block, this is +4, which is great. I think that's cancel or not. So that's kind of nice. So it's one of those few situations where, regardless if it gets blocked, you get the same advantage. But on hit, on hit you get +9, which is nice. Whether you cancel it or not, which is really really good. So on hit, you get guaranteed follow-ups. So that's nice. But so pretty good overall. Like I said, the only downside to it is it's linear and it's a little slow to come out. But if you take the time to condition your opponent, it's usually not too bad. Our next big move is 4-4-4. This move is ridiculous. It's really really good. It's got range for days, and it's a homing move. As you can see, it knocks down on hit, and it's -8 on block, so it's not too bad. You can abuse this, and it is airborne. It's an airborne move, so it will low crush a lot of moves. With that being said, though, it also means you have a slight chance of being knocked out of it. But I've never personally been hit out of it, and if you know what you're doing, you should be able to avoid the same situation. But just so you know, it is possible. I've seen it happen to others. It's just never happened to me. I guess I got lucky. And our last move out of neutral is going to be Wall Rising 1-2. It's going to be a big one. This is your full crowd. This is Wall Rising 1-2. It's our 15 frame launcher. You get some pretty decent damage from it. Not great. About the same as your down 4-2. Yeah, I believe it's the first hit's -10. So I've actually thrown this out quite a bit on its own just to see what people do. And like when I'm playing the poking game, I'll just do stuff like that. Both of them together, it's -13. So, and you're like right in your opponent's face. So your opponent can really do anything that 13 frames or faster, and it's not gonna miss. Like, you're in their face. So you want to be careful with that. But if you can get it off, it's pretty good. Pretty good. So her next thing, we're going to talk about a few key moves out of Scarecrow. Again, if you missed it, to get into Scarecrow is 3+4. So her first key moves is kind of like a setup, I guess, which is her 3 strings. She has 3-3, and then she has 3-4-3. I think this is a very important move because a lot of your moves getting into Scarecrow is going to be is going to give you +3 on block, or hit, like +3 right there, or I'm trying to think what. There you go, +4. Trying to think, where was it? There's a couple moves. I can't think of what they are at this second. But a lot of her moves will put you at yeah, that was right. The forward 3. What's up, Mob? The forward 3 I mentioned. So +3, +4. A lot of moves will put you at +3, +4 on block specifically, or hit. So, so this 3 string will usually either trade or will be uninterruptible, which is usually what we're going for. With the exception is down back 3, for example. Usually you're going to get the extra frames. Usually I go for 3 forward 3 because it gives you +3 again. So until they realize what's going on, like a lot of people won't jab for whatever reason. They'll try to duck afterwards, or they'll try to like do something different, and then you just throw this out again and you get you just get it. It's a pretty good move, and I feel like mixing it up with the 3-3 is very important in my opinion, because a lot of people know, like, unfortunately, a lot of Zafinas that I've seen like abuse the crap out of this move, which I don't think is a good idea if you are a Zafina player. So a few people do know this string exists, and they do duck the second hit. So this is a move to let them know, like, that's an option. It's not a mandatory thing, yada, yada, yada. Oh, yeah. So on another big move out of Scarecrow is her 1+2. This is a big move in my opinion. It's 17 frames to come out. It's +6 on block, which is freaking great. It knocks down on hit, and is probably her biggest counter hit launcher, in my opinion. One of, if not her biggest counter hit launchers. If you hold down, you can go into Tarantula, my fault, which leads into some really ridiculous combos. For example, yeah. So I think that's a really big move. The only downside is it's 17 frames to come out, and a lot of your frame advantage. A lot of your frame advantage situations are only going to give you about +4-ish, unless you hit them, of course. So you're going to have to kind of condition your opponent to give you the time you need to whip this out in a lot of situations. But aside from that, it's a good move. It's a really good move. If it were much faster, it'd be broken. Let's just go with that. Her next big key move out of Scarecrow is her down forward 4. If you hold down, you can go into Mantis, which is really nice. So as you can see, if you go into Mantis, it's +7. And if you don't go into Mantis, it's also +7, which is cool. On hit, specifically. I believe on block. Oh. So on block, it's -14. So it can give you a little bit of issues. But this move is strong high crush properties. And as I mentioned on hit, it gives you that +7, which is really nice. You could do a lot with 17 frames in Mantis. There's very few that you can do that could get interrupted here. So it's kind of nice. So just keep in mind it is -14 on block, so you want to be very careful. I don't know why I thought it was safer than that, but I was about to say -12, but good thing I didn't finish that sentence. So our last move in Scarecrow, and this is a move you're probably going to use the least, but you're still going to want to try to use it here and there, if for no other reason to make sure your opponent remembers that you have it, which is 4. This is a Power Crush, very strong launcher. It's technically -13 on block, but that's assuming you stay in Scarecrow. If you cancel out of Scarecrow, it's -18. So if you get him at tip range, as you can see, it kind of has that pushback. Trying to see if I can get it. It has that pushback, so some people won't launch it properly, or won't do much of anything at all, which is really nice. And you'd be surprised how often I've thrown that out, and people look at me like deer at some headlights, just kind of like staring at me, pretty much. So I get away with that way more than I think I should. My bad. But it's a very good move. Like I said, it's basically -18 on block. But otherwise, it's a very good launcher. It's a power crush, so it'll go over highs and mids. And you basically get one. You're basically mixing this with your other stuff. That's a very. It's not great, but it's good. It's good. Next bit, we're going to talk about her Mantis stuff. Her first key move is going to be her one jab. It's 13 frames to come out, and she does have an extension with 1-3. As you can see on hit, you get +9, and on block you're in neutral, which is not the worst thing to be in. It's just you are in Scarecrow if you don't cancel this, which you can cancel it with back, which is nice. But when you cancel it, you'll be at -8, as you see. If you don't, you'll be at neutral, which is not the worst thing. On block, you'll be at neutral specifically. And then if you cancel it and it hits, it's +1. So not too bad. So ideally, so what I... Oh, thank you, Independent. I appreciate it. But anywho, so yeah, so one is a very important. It is 13 frames. Like I said, it's a very good move, and it can lead you into a lot of your pressure situations. And I find myself primarily using this after like down 3, or like down back 4. If you hold down, you can go into the stance, and then people kind of just stand there and you throw this out. It usually works. The next one's going to be 2. This one you want to be very careful with. On block, it's -14. That goes for basically everything. In this stance, I guess the last it's -13. Excuse me. But the reason this is so good is because on counter hit, it is a launcher. I don't know why that missed. So not too bad. Let me see if I can't get this. It's gonna bother me until I get it now. Oh well. Okay. And then our last move is going to be from Mantis, down 3-1. This is a very nice move. As you can see, it's 15 frames to come out. On hit, on the first hit is -1. By itself, when it gets blocked, is -12. So that's actually really nice. And remember, you can block in this stance. So if like Kazuya blocks it, you just gotta block, and he won't be able to launch you for it. The whole thing by itself is -9. It's not a natural unless you get on counter, and the second hit does launch, regardless of if the first hit, hits or not. So you can get some pretty decent damage from it. It's -9, and you're in Mantis, so it's not only is it safe, but even if you were standing, they wouldn't be able to do anything. So it's a very nice move to just throw out, see what happens. Literally not much anything anybody can do about it. So our next stance is going to be Tarantula. The first move is going to be 1. People might disagree with me, but I feel like 1's really important, because if you don't use this, there's the other moves that you have in this stance don't mean crap. If that makes sense. Like, you use this move, and then even if you're only poking here and there, I've ended a couple rounds with this move just to make a person afraid of it. And then later on, I can throw out the move that I want to throw out, and it'll usually hit, which is really nice. So 1 is very important in my opinion. You see, it's +5 on hit, which is whatever. It's whatever. But on block, it's only -11. So, and because of the because of your position, there's not really anything they can do about it. But being at -11 is actually a bigger deal than you might think, because you can't block in this stance or anything. So they actually have a lot more time than it looks. It's just the fact that it's a really good low to kind of like meddle you with your opponent, to kind of get them second guessing what you're going to do next. The next move is 3. This is the move in this stance that is worth everything. It's 14 frames to come out. It knocks down. You do get a free down 1+2, which is awesome. So that's like 32 damage or something. It's pretty good. Like I mentioned before, she gets a lot of like free ground hits off of dumb stuff. This being one of them. If you hold down, she'll go into Mantis, which is really cool. It's not like the best thing in the world, but like if it gets blocked, it's nice to know that you could make it, put yourself in a position where, you don't get hit, I guess. So pretty good overall. And then our last move is going to be down 1+2. Again, like it's one of them moves like you kind of have to use it even if you don't like it. It's a little on the slow side, and let me see. As you can see, it's -21, so it is launch punishable. But on hit, you get a free down 4, which is what it is. But it's nothing big, but it's better than nothing. And it's kind of one of those moves that helps remind your opponent that you have lows in that stance and to fear you. So those are going to be all of her key moves. Let's go ahead and talk about her moves that go into stances. Some of these moves I already mentioned, and other moves I haven't. I just want to make sure I cover all my bases. So these aren't all the ways to get into stances. These are just the best ways to get into stances for the most part. You just have to kind of mix and match with a few things. But I wanted to make sure I added a few ways to get into each of the stances. I think there's at least 3 for each stance, something like that. It's hard to explain. We'll get into it. We're going to go ahead and do that right now. So from neutral, you're going to go ahead and do 1-3. That's going to put you in Scarecrow. Then if you do 1-4, which also, by the way, for punishment is her stronger option, which again we'll get into once we get into punishment. I just want to make sure I pointed that out now in case I forget to later. But as you can see, 1-4 will put you in Tarantula, and it kind of gives a little bit of distance, so it's pretty good. 3 by itself, 13 frame high, puts you in Scarecrow, pretty good. 4-2-3 also puts you in Scarecrow. You can hold back and cancel out for that one. Same with 3. If you hold back, you can cancel. Down 4-3. So 14 frame mid. +4 on hit. So if you so yeah, that puts you in Scarecrow. You can hold back to cancel. So that's pretty nice. Down 3. If you hold down, we'll put you in a Mantis. Again, arguably one of the best low pokes, period. Down Down back 3 puts you in Scarecrow. You can hold back to cancel. Down back 4. If you hold down, my fault, you can go into Mantis. And this is actually a lot nicer in my opinion than it looks. It does put you at -5, but you're in a unique situation. I've found this to be better than you would think. Go ahead and just do Tarantula real quick because there's only one option, which is down 1 + 2, puts you in a Mantis. Also, there's 3. It also puts you in a Mantis. It's kind of cool. You can kind of just do this. If your opponent doesn't know what to do, you can kind of keep doing it. It's kind of cool. And then with Scarecrow, there's 1/4, puts you in Tarantula. 1 + 2. The big boy counter hit launcher we showed earlier. If you hold down, we'll put you in Tarantula. And down forward 4. If you hold down, we'll also put you in Tarantula. Or not Tarantula, we'll put you in Mantis, my fault. And then from Mantis, 1/3 will put you into Scarecrow. You can also hold back to cancel the stance. And Mantis down forward 4. Which is her homing move, will put you in Tarantula. So, really, really good. And those are her moves that will primarily get you into stances. I know I went through that a little fast, but there's not really much reason to go into explanation. Those are just moves you can use. Again, those aren't all the moves that you can use to go into stances. Those are just like the big ones. Like for example, I only have the one move for Tarantula to get into Mantis, which was this one. And then as I was doing this, I remember that you can go into Tarantula from 3. So that was just one of those things. But aside from that, there's a few different ways to get into stances, but those are probably the best ones. So I want to go into some honorable mentions. So this is honorable mentions for key moves. So, arguably, you can use these as much. Some of them you might be able to use more or less than some of the key moves. I just feel like these moves deserve a little bit of recognition for what they can do. Our first one being a neutral is going to be 1/4. It's a very, very good move. People don't seem to like it because, unlike Scarecrow, you're kind of like back here afterwards. But I like it personally. I feel like there's a fair bit. You're not that far away from your opponent, and even if they backdash, you got 1 + 2, and you have 2, which actually has better range than you would think. As you can see, backdashing, I can get away from it. But then, if somebody tries to rush in, it's one of those things, yeah. But it's the 1/4 that I was really referring to, though. It's a good move, I think, on its own. And like I mentioned before, as far as a 10-frame punish is concerned, it is a stronger option as far as more damage. The next move is going to be 2-1-3. You can want to be careful with this, but the reason I wanted to add it is because if you hold down, you can go into stance, which I think is really good. Because a lot of people kind of expect the low, so when they block it and nothing happens, they'll still try to launch you, right? It's weird. It's weird to explain, but basically you'll do it, and then you'll do 2 or whatever and counter hit them instead. It's actually kind of cool. You want to be careful with it. If they know what you're doing, then they can launch you for this. But if they don't, it's a nice way to kind of mess with your opponent. And you can mix this with 2 too. Both are safe options. So, and even though it looks so, even though it's 2 different inputs, a lot of people will get these mixed up because it's so weird. I don't know how or why, they just do. So, I always mix the 2, and you'd be surprised how often this stuff works. So, and even if that does end up being the case, it's still good to see what your opponent does. 2-1 by itself is still a fairly good move. It's just not natural, which is unfortunate. Our next move is going to be 4-2-3. You can go in Scarecrow with this, or you can hold back and cancel. I almost put this in key moves. The only problem is that the second hit is a high, and it can be ducked. And in the later stages of the game, most people will duck it. So it's more like a combo filler, and every now and again a knowledge check. If they don't duck this, you abuse it. It's a great move. Even on block, it's neutral. And if they try to do anything, you can mix it up with down forward 4 or regular 4, pretty much. It's really, really nice. Next move is going to be 4-3. Now, the only reason this one isn't a key move is just because it's really slow and it's a high. But this can get you some actually really good damage. 67. Not too bad. Not too bad. Like I said, the only reason is because it's high and slow. It's not usually a good combination you want to find yourself with. Forward 4. The only reason, again, the only reason this isn't considered a key move to me is just because the range isn't great. But this is effectively the same move as your down forward 1-4. It's just the 4 by itself. And the 4 by itself will, as you can see, knock down. And you can get a free back 3 for it. Sometimes they might get hit and they might get a little wonky. A little bit of a wonky hit. My fault. And then you just do down 2. It's not too bad. Or whatever you want. Okay, so this one's another one. Down 4-3-4. And down 4-3, down 4. The only reason this isn't a key move is because it's not a real mix-up. So basically, if they recognize the down 4-3, all they have to do is duck, and both options are beat. Which is why I didn't want to throw this out. And as far as punishment is concerned, it's a great punishment tool. It's just like if you're trying to use this out in the open, it's just this move is more situational than it is just something you could throw out, pretty much. Down back 2 is really, really good. This could be a key move. It's 13 frames to come out. It's +3 on hit, and on counter hit it knocks down for free damage. Pretty good. I think the only option is down 2, but still, damage is damage. Next move is going to be down back 4-2. So the reason, again, this one is a little bit more obvious as to why it's not a key move. It's not natural. It's a low mid, -13. The reason I like it though is because if you can set up for it and you can get this counter hit, it is a great counter hit tool, and especially in like intermediate ranks and even some situation in high ranks, this move is ridiculous. Ugh. Like I said, it just kind of depends on the situation, which is why I didn't put in key moves, obviously, and because it's -13 for basically too much risk, and the reward is good. It's almost better than the risk. It's just the risk is too high to try to get the reward because it's like almost never going to work. or at least it shouldn't, but it works more than it should, if that makes sense. But like I'll do down forward 1-3, and then somebody will try to attack afterwards, and I'll just do this. So like situations like that where they like your opponent likes to push buttons. That's like a great example. Down back 1+2. This is basically her pseudo snake edge / hell sweep. She has 2 extensions out of this. My bad. So you have like the hell sweep version where she just kind of knocks them back, which is only -14, and even if they block the first hit, you will still follow through. It's -16 on block, so not great. But if they do try to do their 16 frame move, it'll usually hit, for example. So you can see. So that was a 15 frame move, and we traded. So basically, I want to say it's 13 frames and faster. 13, 14 frames will be pretty good. And then anything faster or slower than that, it's yours for the taking. It's pretty nice. Or I guess we just saw 15 frames. I thought it was 14 for the longest time. So, but that's still not too bad to trade with a 15 frame launch. 15 frame move. It's not too bad. And then still only be -14. And then obviously considering that this actually does get you some pretty decent damage for what it is. Pretty good. This is up forward 1. I love this move. I think this move is freaking ridiculous. I love this move. They did nerf this move, which is a big reason why it's not a key move. Like, it's 19 frames, so it's a little on the slow side for the high as well. I guess that's a big one. But aside from that, this move is freaking amazing. I love this move. It's +9 on hit. It's +4 on block. And you'll be surprised how many people attack after this move. So I'll usually do this and go for a down forward 1-4, and that works a lot. And this move alone is just great. I love this move. I just do. Up forward 1+2. You want to be careful with this move. It is -7, but you're going straight into Tarantula from here. So if they do like a low hitting mid or something, you're just kind of taking it, regardless. But on hit, it's +6. So like a 3 is uninterruptible. And it low crushes, obviously. So pretty good. Like I said, nothing's guaranteed here. It's used to knock down. I think it's still counter hit launches. Yeah. You see if I can't get this. Yeah, see. I'm trying to remember. I thought there was something. I think you just get that. I think you just get something. I could have sworn there was something you got there, but maybe I haven't done it in so long. Maybe I forgot. But still very, very decent. The only reason it's not a key move is because you're literally knocking yourself into a stance where if it gets blocked, there's nothing you can do about it. Our next move is going to be 4-4-2. I personally love this move, and I get this move a lot more than you would think. A lot of people say the range on it is crap, but I'm back here at about 3, and about 3, and I get it pretty comfortably. If I do a deep dash, okay, so I missed that at like tip range, but if I do a deep dash, I can still get it. But usually around 3, I can still get this pretty comfortably every time, and it is a counter hit launch. So pretty good. It's just the fact that it's a high people don't seem to like. But I love this move. If getting in is not really the problem, this is pretty good. And it gets you +1 on block, which isn't fantastic, but it can set you up for some pretty nice situations. And then our last move is going to be forward 1 or forward 3 +4. I like this move. So if you hold down with this move, you can go into Mantis as well. So it's a very nice way of getting in, and then just going straight into Mantis. Because it's -12 on block. It's -12 on block if you cancel. If you don't cancel, it's still -11, but you're standing. So the thing about -12 is that the only punish they're really doing here is a dick jab. And that's really it. Everything else, you're going to go under. Because the fact, you're pretty much all that anybody really has is a magic 4 or a one jab string. So you're usually in a pretty good situation. It's very rare, and I've never been punished for doing this. That being said, it doesn't mean it won't ever happen, but I've never personally been punished for this using this move. It's a very good move. And this is one of those moves where I was saying before, like, you could put this in as a key move. Like, yeah. I could have thrown this in as a key move. Where are you? Okay. It's just that, I just did it. I don't know why. But, I feel like this is a very, very big move. So, I guess out of the two moves that I didn't add into key moves that you probably could consider to be key moves is they're up forward 1, but that's just me personally feeling that way, so that's why I didn't want to add it just because. And then forward 4, 3 +4. I do think a lot of people would agree with me that this is a pretty safe move to throw in key moves. So I don't feel too bad about that one. All right, so I guess we'll do Scarecrow next. So Scarecrow honorable mentions. We're gonna go talk about wait. Yeah. So Scarecrow honorable mentions. As I mentioned before, is gonna be 1-4. I think this is a very, very good move. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. So 1-4 by itself, I think is really, really good. So like, say you do the 1-3 string and it gets blocked. If your opponent doesn't immediately do the one jab, like if you notice they're not doing it, you can do this as like a free mix-up and get into Tarantula stance immediately. And if it does manage to hit, you're at +7 in Tarantula, so that's not the worst place to be in. I feel like it's pretty good. I just didn't add it as a key move because it puts you in Tarantula, and especially if it gets blocked, it's not the greatest spot to be in, but it's definitely not the worst spot to be in either. Next is going to be Scarecrow 2. I love this move. I personally really love this move. It's a counter hit launcher. You get some pretty decent damage for it. It does have an extension in the form of 2-2. By itself, it's only -7. The extension is -10, but if the second hit hits on counter, it's a knockdown. You get some guaranteed damage. Oh, my bad. That might not have been it. So, not too bad. Sorry, my hand's starting to cramp. It's not too bad. And then Scarecrow 3+4 is a pretty big honorable mention in my opinion. Just because, yeah, it is -12 on block. But a lot of people don't really see this one coming, so you'd be surprised how often you get away with it. But it's nice. It might be nice to just kind of throw it out every now and again and see what happens. Just see what happens. Next is going to be Mantis, or for honorable mentions. For this one, we're going to do the three strings. So these are about 22 frames ish to start up, and each one of these is punishable. So 14, 17, -12, and -24. So you want to be very careful just throwing these out. And that right there is exactly why it's not a key move, because they're all punishable. But it might be nice to kind of like knowledge check your opponent. This is a very good knowledge checking as far as like what your opponent does. Because if you throw out, because as you can see, it's not natural. Even if the first hit hits, see if the second hit gets blocked. And see what they do. If they try to attack, then that's when you would do the last hit. Let me see if I can't. As you can see on hit, the last hit's +9. It's a big difference. And then you can see the second hit's -1 on hit, so it's whatever. But not the worst thing to put out. If you just do the one kick, the 1-3, it's +3 on hit, so it's not terrible. You might be able to throw out a 1 or 2. See what happens. Next move is going to be down forward 2. This is a little on the slow side, so you'll be surprised. Unfortunately, you would be surprised at how much this does not hit, but it is safe, so you can just try to throw it out. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you a whole lot in terms of damage. You're going to get about 51 damage, which isn't great, and you kind of stuck with what it gives you because of the animation. But a little bit of damage is still better than no damage. 50 damage is still better than no damage. 20 damage is better than no damage. So it's still worth throwing out. It's safe, and it's not a bad move. It's just, unfortunately, it seems like anytime I've ever thrown this out, which I have tried throwing it out quite a few times, it almost always gets blocked. I think I've maybe landed it a handful of times. It just seems like people are pretty much ready for this one, but that also could be because I don't do very many lows either. That could be my own fault. So that's just kind of how it is. A next honorable mention. I love this move. It's not very useful, but it is very, very good. As you can see, it's -17 on block, which is unfortunate. I think this is a good move. So if you hit there's no real reason to do this, but if you hit 3+4, you can actually turn around, and this will hit both sides. It's hard to do it because I'd have to get her to walk into me, but this does hit from both sides, which is kind of cool. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can't get that to work. As you can see, like it still hits being back turned. They gotta have to. There we go. So as you can see, it still hits back turned. It's just you have to get them to walk into you, which isn't usually going to happen. But it's kind of cool. But as you saw, it's minus 17 on block. Man, you just hating. I hope. I mean, I agree. I don't think she's going to be in Tekken 8, but I hope she is. I would love for her to be in Tekken 8. I think she'd be a great addition to Tekken 8, but yeah, I have to agree. She's probably not going to be in Tekken 8. So that one's really, really cool. That's what I like it for. So very, very. But the reason I like this move so much is because it does throw people off, and it does have pushback even on block. So even with the pushback, so not everybody's going to be able to punish you for this. So it's really, really good. Give me 1 second. I didn't see that whole message, so now I have to go into my YouTube, go into my chat, and see what you type. I didn't see that whole message, so now I have to now my volume's too loud. Moves are so unique, so you never. Yeah. Well, yeah. I agree. Her moves are unique in the greatest way. So anywho. Oh yeah, so her next move is going to be up 4-3. Again, just like her down 4-3, I love this move. It's minus 9 on block. It's so, I don't know why it does that. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But it says it shows that it's +6 at first, and then it goes into -9. So I'm wondering if there's something you're supposed to be able to do there. But honestly, I don't know. I've never seen that situation before. And that happens whether you cancel it or not, which also you can cancel back into Mantis by holding down. Otherwise, you'll just go straight into neutral. But I like this move. It's -9 on block. It knocks down on hit. I believe you get... Okay. No, so that's not guaranteed. But most of the time, you'll be surprised how often that hits. They do pretty much anything else. Okay, so last state's going to be Tarantula. This only has 2 moves that I even thought were even worth mentioning. The first one's going to be 2. This one's really stupid slow. It's over half a second. That's why I didn't throw it out, throw it in key moves. But it is a very good move. It is safe as well. And if in Tarantula, I like to mix this in with the down 1+2, because even though down 1+2 is faster, a lot of people don't know Zafina very well, so they look similar. So I throw this out and then it hits. But basically that only works if you're using down 1+2. But otherwise, I would not consider this to be a key move at all. And then 1+2. So this is punishable. Let me see. -12. It doesn't cancel into anything. But the reason I like this is because when you're in Tarantula, everybody basically wants to step on you like you're a tarantula, more or less. And if you're dealing with a player and they're always doing like a low kick or something, this is really nice to like go over that and make them pay for it. I want to say it's hard to do. Maybe it's not even a counter hit. It's hard to do. Yeah. It's hard to do. But in some situations that turns into a launcher, But like I said, it's very hard to do. And for the most part, I'm pretty sure this jails. I'm not 100% sure on that. But you're pretty much never going to get that. But it has happened to me in the past. So it's good to note. So a couple minor bonus things to point out real quick before we move on to punishment. So her one and only grab, she doesn't have a very good grab game, is going to be her 4-4 1+2. This is a simple 1+2 break. She does have a back 2+4 parry, which is very nice. She does take a little bit of damage, but she'll deal 35 damage back no matter what. And if their backs to the wall, you'll wall splat them for some pretty good damage. Pretty good. And then the last thing, this is not useful, but I figured it would be nice to note because a lot of people don't know that this exists. But if you do her back flip, so this is up, and then up back, or I guess quarter up, back, back. If you hit 3+4, she'll actually go in straight into Mantis. Again, that's not super useful, but if you have somebody who's like trying to rush in, or like Claudio's coming in, for example, and you do this or whatever, and he's doing this too, you can do this and miss. I've only ever done that like once ever, and that was luck, I feel. But maybe you'll get more lucky, who knows? Otherwise, this is just a gimmick. I thought it was just really, really cool. A lot of people don't know that's a thing. Figured I'd point it out. So I guess we'll go ahead and just go straight into our punishment real quick. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and do our punishment, and then we'll discuss a few combo stuff, or her rage stuff, and then her combo stuff. My fault. So we'll go ahead and talk about her punishment. Her punishment's very basic. Like I mentioned when I mentioned her weaknesses, her punishment isn't terrible, especially if you compare it to other characters, but it's definitely one of her weakest aspects. Her 10, 11, and 12 frame punish, she does have down 1, but I would never use that as a punish for 12 frames, so we're not going to mention that. So her 10, 11, and 12 frame punish is going to be your one jab stuff. You have 1-3, which is 21 damage, +7 if you go into Scarecrow. Then you have 1-4, which does 24 damage, but only gives you 2+2, and you're in Tarantula. Not the greatest position to be in. For 13 frame, you're going to do a down forward 1-4 or down forward 1-2. But either one doesn't really matter. Down forward 1-4 is probably preferred because it gives you 2 points more damage and a lot more frame advantage. And a ballerina spin, so wall splat, all kind of situations. But you might want to do this because, like, if you notice that they like to try to hit afterwards, then you can try to see if you can't counter hit them for more damage. But that's up to you. It's an option. And you're going to do, for 14, you're going to do down forward 3-4, and then you're going to do down back 4-2. So it'll look like this. And this puts you in a really good situation. It doesn't look like it. It looks like you're not. But this is like the perfect distance for Zafina. Right where she landed. You could do down 2. You could try to go for another down back 4-2. If they try to do anything, you'll counter hit them. Basically, there's a lot of things you could do in that particular situation that makes their life a lot more difficult. Especially if they try to attack, then you're definitely going to have fun with that. But you're going to do that for 14 and 15 frames. And then at 16, you got her down forward 2. It's very, very nice. 17 frame, you have her hop kick. I would still honestly suggest down forward 2. Just because you get more, even regardless, you just get more damage. It just is the way it is. And then 18 frames, You probably still do down forward 2, but if you want to do this because you love being cheeky, you can do back 1 into her just frame for 50 damage. Might be nice if you're just looking for easy damage. It's an option. And then for her wall rising punishment, you really only have a few options for her 11, 12, 13, and 14 frame. You're only going to have her wall rising 4. It's unfortunate. For her 15, you're going to have 1, 2. And I did throw a few other things in for punishment, but honestly, after 15, that's really all you need. You have 2. You have hop kick, but I feel like this is still the stronger of all those options, so I would just stick with that personally. Honestly, the only reason to do 2 is if you're not sure, you can hold down and back up into Mantis like that. But it is more punishable by doing it that way. But it is what it is. And that's pretty much it as far as her punishment. So it's very, very basic, very meh. That's why I was saying it's like whatever. It's there. It's just not great. So we'll go ahead and talk about her rage real quick. So she has her rage drive, which is great. It's fantastic. It's broken as crap. It's 14 frame. It's a 14 frame launcher. On block, it gives you ridiculous plus frames at plus 19. Nothing's guaranteed here. Hold on. Like, as you can see, even if I did it twice, 14 frames, nothing's guaranteed. So keep that in mind. Nothing's guaranteed there, but you get plus 19 to do whatever you want to do. I know some people, when they do this, they'll do this move, which is also a very good move that I never mentioned. Down 4, 1 plus 2. It's 36 frames to come out and safe. It's such a long windup, and it does high crush that entire time. It's actually ridiculous. But you can do that after, whether this gets blocked or hit and see what happens. What you don't want to happen is you do not want to whiff this. If you whiff this, your opponent has enough time to go take a crap, come back, and launch you for it. You don't want to get hit by this. You don't want to whiff this, my fault. You just don't. It's just not it's just not going to be a good day. So if you're going to use this, make sure you're in your opponent's face. She can be. I think her biggest strength right now and forever will be that nobody really uses her, but she is very strong, in my opinion as well. But yeah, so yeah, as I was mentioning, her rage drive is very strong. Just don't whiff it. Whatever you do, don't whiff it. If you whiff it, you will be... I guarantee, as long as your opponent is somewhat competent, you will be launched. I promise. And then her rage art is down, forward, 3 plus 4. You can also do this from Scarecrow. If you like to do the manual rage art, as you can see, if you're in Scarecrow, it won't activate. You have to be in neutral to get it to activate. So that's why I say you have to manually input it. But if you do it, you can do it. So I actually like that. Let me see if I can't. Oh yeah. Or she kicks and staying lower at the ground. Yeah, I agree. That's what I was saying. One of her strengths was her evasiveness, primarily her high crushing. But so her rage art is very generic in terms of it's minus 20. 22, and mid, and not too special, but it has range. It's not as good as other characters, but it has a decent amount of range to keep it fairly consistent and usable. And the fact that you can do this out of Scarecrow is freaking nice. I love that. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to point out, but I don't think there is. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and stop there. So from here on out, if you like, that's pretty much everything you needed to learn as far as the basics of Zafina. So pretty much everything up to this point. There's not really anything else I could teach you. What I'm about to do right now is I'm going to take a little bit of time to show you guys some combos in certain situations and whatnot. But I'm going to let you guys know right now I'm probably going to mess up quite a lot. And I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to edit this, to edit out those mistakes and whatnot. So I'm just giving you guys a fair warning that if you don't want to fight through that horror until I get the chance to edit it out, you should probably go ahead and stop here. But if you like to watch me hate my life, then keep watching. Okay. So, as I just mentioned, we're going to go ahead and get into combo stuff. It's all right. Akil Kumar. Can I just call you Kumar? I like that better. Is this just not loading? Is that what's up right now? Overall, which character is best in 7? Arguably, Akuma is probably the best character in Tekken 7 right now. Personal opinion. But you have to have like amazing execution for that to be the case. So that's kind of up for debate. Okay, so. Sorry, guys. I need a second before I get into these combos. I just need a second to catch my breath before I get into these combos. Because I remember doing this for Horong when I did his tutorial. And I thought I was going to do great. I thought I was going to have no issues whatsoever. But then you try to do these combos in practice with a character, with a dummy that isn't moving, and somehow it just makes it harder. I don't know how that works sometimes. It just does. So I'm going to stick with 2 main launchers. The first one's going to be down forward 2. And the other one's going to be her counter hit 1+2. And then I might do Scarecrow 4 and counter hit Scarecrow 1+2. But for the most part, that's going to be like the main ones. We'll get into some other stuff later, and those will be the ones I stick to. But for here, I'm going to show you guys a few examples. Let me go ahead and throw off player frame data. All right, so for our first combo, you got her down forward 2. I'll show you what the most basic bread and butter combo is. So I feel like that one's probably one of the easier ones. A lot of people don't seem to like the up forward 1 there. I don't. So if you don't like it, you can just do another down forward 1. It will kill some of your damage though. It kills your damage quite a lot. Comparatively, 6 damage, it's quite a bit. But If it's easier, it's easier. But for 63 damage, so it's down forward 2, up forward 1, down forward 1, forward 2, 3, 3 plus 4, and then whatever ender you want. If you want wall carry, forward 4, 3 plus 4 is usually the way to go. It's a good option. Or if you want the damage, then back 1 plus 2 is the best option. Now for a more advanced combo that only does 1 more point of damage. Oh, my bad. Ugh. Really? There we go. Oh, wait. That's why I was messing up. I was doing the wrong combo. All right, so that one. A little bit more advanced. The reason I like this combo, though, even though it only does the 1 more point of damage, is because if you're in rage, you can do the same exact combo. And once you're here, you can just do the rage drive or rage art, and you get a lot of damage for it. Whereas if you do this combo, you can still do the whole thing, but it's not as much. It's 75. And this one is 78. It's a little bit more damage. You know, I like more damage. But I digress. I'm just weird like that. So her next, another combo I like. I'm going to go ahead and just throw this on. So, she has this string down 2, 4, 3. It's primarily a counter hit launcher. And you're not usually just going to throw this out. But if you're just like chilling with your friends or whatever, this might be fun to know. $70 damage, not too bad. For that one, it's just down 2, 4, 3. Or if you're in Tarantula, it's just 4, 3. You just do down forward 1, and then your bread and butter stuff. Not too bad. Not too bad. And that's not too. And so for the next one, I want to do 1 plus 2, 4, 4. But the last hit. Now, if the reason I'm going to keep counter hit on is because if you hit with the second kick and the third kick, this does a lot of damage. $86 damage is pretty good. So basically on counter hit or on regular hit on that last attack, afterwards you hit down back 3 and then hold back to cancel it. So, and then down forward 1 to pick up, and then you do your normal bread and butter. So. And end it however you want. So that's pretty cool. And then 1 plus 2 by itself. Basically the same thing. You can add another down forward 1 just to get a little bit of extra damage. 68, pretty good. Or you could just go straight into forward 2, 3. And get a little bit more damage, not a lot, but 70 damage, not bad. For Scarecrow, this is the one I really wanted to show. So with this one, there's 2 combos you can do out of 4. The one that I like to do is 4, and then down 3, 3. So, or my bad. And then you'll cancel down 3, 3, to go into stance, and you can just do whatever you want. I usually go with 4, 2, 3 cancel and to back 1. So it looks like this. $69 damage, not too bad. Now, if you don't want to stay in Scarecrow, the unfortunate part is that she kind of recovers slow, so you can't like do up forward one like I like to do. So you kind of have to go with down forward one, or down forward. Okay, I guess that doesn't work either. So I guess you do have to stick with down forward one, and that does kind of hurt your damage a little bit. Well, I guess not. 69, same damage. So either way you could do it. It works. And when you do rage, it's really nice. So when I do rage, I do it a little differently. So instead of just running up and just doing straight 2, 3, I'll do the up forward 1 first. So boom, 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 and then I'll do rage art. So down 3, 3, dash up forward 1, forward 2, 3, and then rage art. So. Now this can miss. I've only ever missed in practice, and it's usually like when they're like off axis a little bit. So I'm guessing that's like the main thing. But otherwise, and then if you want to, again, if you like to cancel it, then you just do this. Slightly less damage, but if it's easier and it works, then it works. And then, so this one, there's a couple different things you can do here. My bad. Ugh. Oh, yeah, my fault. So there's this option, it does 79, not too bad. And then there's my combo that I prefer. So you'll do 1 plus 2, and then you'll actually wait for them to hit the ground, so that when you do this, you'll only hit them once. So the reason I say that is if you go straight into this move, you'll hit them twice, and that's not bad. But if you wait for them to hit the ground, you do the same amount of damage with one less hit, so you could do more with it. So instead of getting, if you hit them with both, you'll miss that last hit. As you see, you'll miss. So that's why I say, oh my bad. So that's why I say wait till they hit the ground and then do it. And then you can get that pretty much every time. And the cool part about it is that if you get on counter, easy 94 damage. So pretty good. Another combo is down forward, down back, 4-2. So if by chance you do get this, and you will get this every blue moon, there's a couple things you can do. I'll show you guys a slightly easier one. Basically, your normal bread and butter. Oh, my bad. So basically the same thing as your down forward 2. You still get pretty good damage for it. Holy crap. There we go. 83 damage is not too bad. I like to do this one. Holy crap. Am I doing the wrong combo? I don't think so. Maybe I am. I like to do this one. Only because, how much did the other one do? It was like 83, right? Yeah. So, so this one does less, as you can see. I don't know why I'm messing this up so much. Actually, might be because Zafina's a chick. Because I'm sure I've hit that before. Plenty of times. Might be because maybe it's because it's off axis. Yeah, see right there. So maybe it's because it's maybe it's because of the hitbox. Yeah. So with that one you do 84, so it's about the same. But the reason I like that one is basically the same as all the other reasons, is because on rage you get quite a bit more damage for it. I believe this is exactly 100. Yeah, so pretty good overall. And then the other option, like I said, it's not too bad. It's not necessarily worse. It's just you're gonna get 3 less damage, so it's not the worst thing in the world. It is what it is. I think that's it for her combos with in an infinity stage. So let's go ahead and discuss her wall stuff, I guess. Because why not? Yeah, sure. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I guess. Yeah. I didn't realize this took so long. All right, so all right, so before we get too far into it, I wanted to talk about her wall bounce. So her wall bounce isn't bad. It's forward 1+2. I want to say it's not. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's 19 frames. So it's not terrible. So it's a little on the slow side. It is safe though, which is more than I can say for a lot of people. Most people with a mid wall bounce is usually punishable, with the exception of a few. She just happened to be one of the lucky ones that doesn't have like a punishable one. So pretty good. So what I like to do, 68 damage, that's not too bad. Or if I'm feeling extra, if I'm willing to deal a little less damage, I'll do that combo instead. But I'm pretty sure there's another combo I'm not thinking of. No, that wasn't it. But either way, that works. So that's pretty much. So if your opponent, if you happen to be like right here, your options are limited, unfortunately, because they're like right there. But there is a couple options you could do here. What I like to do is up forward 1. I guess you kind of just gotta stick with what you got. Oh, that doesn't even work. So yeah, as you see, like, okay, that was it. That was it. All right, so with this one, you have to be like really picky about it, though. I think I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think that was it. Actually, that actually should be it. $61 damage. I was trying to remember which one it was, but you basically got to have like a fast wall splat, I guess. I'm trying. I thought there was a better one. I'm trying to remember what it was, but honestly, that forward 4 is the only one I could think of. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. It's not back. It's not back 2, is it? No, it's not. 61 damage. That's not too bad. If they're right there, if they're right at the wall, that's really good. And then when you're here, you get a little bit more things to work with. Like you could do a lot more with this. I like 4-4-2 personally, just because it gets you a little bit more damage. But honestly, you could do pretty much whatever you want here. Holy crap. No, that doesn't work. I was trying to think, like I said, there's stuff that I've done before, but I guess that one really is the best one. If I can back up, that'd be great. And I prefer this one, even though it does less damage, like by a lot, only because it kind of it does that. It does that, and you're in a very big Oki situation. First of all, you can do 1+2, and at the very, very best, they will have to block it. It will make contact. Oh, my bad. It will make contact. But that's not your only option. For example, since if I know he's gonna back roll or roll the other way, what I like to do is I'll do like a quick little sidestep, and then I'll do I'll do her pseudo stake edge from Scarecrow, which is down forward 3-3, and basically get a full free combo for it. You also have like down forward 4 to mix up with, just all different kinds of options just from that situation. So she can be very scary at the wall if you know what you're doing there. And that was pretty much her wall enders as well. So you're not really going to do anything else. So like, so instead of doing back 1+2, you'll run in and do this. Down forward 2 is a bad example. Holy crap. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. So basically, the wall combo is always going to be the same. Unlike, she is unfortunately one of the few characters that kind of gets stuck with the same options. But 83 damage at the wall still isn't too bad, considering usually you only get about 63. So that's quite a bit. That's quite a leap. Or if you wanted to do the Oki version, 79 still good with hella Oki. Can't complain about that. That's pretty much it as far as her wall ender stuff is concerned. You can do her rage stuff as well. Pretty much the same thing. It's just because they hit the wall already, your options are limited, so you kind of got to do something different. But like 80 damage just isn't bad. I'll show you. I just see like the even your bread and butter stuff isn't guaranteed anymore. So that's why I was saying like you have to kind of stick with it, or you have to do something definitive. I'm trying to think. I think that really is it though. So I guess we'll go ahead and do balcony break stuff. Zafina actually has a unique situation. So and this is whether there's a wall, balcony break, or floor break, or anything like that. So her 14-frame launcher, her 14-frame Punisher, basically becomes like a big, like a 4-hit launcher. Let me see. Yeah. So it's weird. Like you have to be at a weird angle, I guess. But this is kind of interesting. But you can get a little bit more damage for that. I thought that was kind of cool. But assuming you're not in that situation, for the most part, you can do a lot of the same stuff. I just would say don't break don't delay that last hit, so you can, get the balcony break. And Zafina is one of the few characters that have like a definitive way to end a combo, so it's a lot easier to figure out what you want to do. Whereas some people are kind of stuck with like a wall splat move or a floor splat move that doesn't do a whole lot of anything. And then like with her wall bounce, oh crap. It doesn't do a lot, but it's not terrible. And like you can always come up with stuff like that too. It's not too bad. Like if you happen to be in that minor situation, this is actually really kind of broken. That's not what I meant to do. Not yet, anyways. Nice 80 damage. Not too bad. And then if they're at the wall, you could get some pretty ridiculous stuff. So for her rage drive, you want to keep things under 4 hits. Otherwise, they'll back up too much. Like, I'll show you what I mean. So if you do something like this, and you rush out to try to do a rage drive, it's not going to work. And that's, like, I'll try to do something with, like, 5 hits and see if I can't. As you see, like, even just the 5 hits, they were thrown too far. So that's why I was saying, in this case, you want to keep it compact. And you could do just something small like that, and it'll work pretty comfortably. So, but if you want to try to do her rage art, that's a lot easier. So, because her rage art has fairly good range, all you need to do is get more or less do like a single dash for most of her situations, and you'll get you know the combo off. Like, for example, like I said, this one, I really like this because even though it's not common, it does happen. Oh, come on. And, like, you can get some pretty ridiculous damage. Like, this is just whatever. But if you know, if you, like, are really into it, you'd be surprised. And depending on the stage, too, you'd be surprised how much damage you can get from this kind of stuff. So I always thought that was really, really cool. I guess we'll go into floor breaks real quick. And then after floor breaks is wall breaks, like Geese's stage. And I think that's really it. So, no complaints. So Zafina actually has a pretty decent way to break the floor. You wouldn't think, with her 1+2, or down forward 4-1 is a pretty good option. So basically the same. You know, if I stick to her bread and butter, I guess I do want the wall though. I think that should be long enough, far enough. So you just do 1+2, and that breaks the floor. And then you just do her back one-ender. Nothing too major there. Her wall carry isn't great either. It's just unfortunate. It's not bad. It's just not great. It's just not great. I'm trying to think. I guess if you really wanted wall carry, no, that doesn't work. Yeah, see, that still don't make it all the way to the wall, though. See, that time he just went off axis. That one could have worked. May not have to go as far as I thought. I messed it up, but yeah, even with that, it still got 95, and it's not a full. It's not like the full thing, but it's most of it. And honestly, that's not too bad. Yeah, so you just got to barely like be away from the wall, I guess. 98 damage. That's not too bad. It says 35% instead of 50, but that's just because we did the floor break, so you get reduced damage. But still pretty good damage. And then even if you don't make it to the wall, you get pretty good damage. Oh my god. You gotta wait for them to bounce. You get decent damage. I think even with the down forward 1 added in there, I think it's still like 84, 85. Not a big difference. But enough, you know. Damage is damage. Oh my gosh. This one's one of those trickier ones. You could do forward 3. Granted, it's not as reliable, but it is doable. So yeah, 84. So not too bad. And with the rage drive, it's not much different. I actually do like her rage drive though in this situation. Oh my gosh. So I just gotta be a little closer. $110 damage. Just pretty good. For what that was. Like I said, with her rage drive 1, you got to keep any combo under 4 hits. So, with the exception of this one, what I like to do with this one is I'll do this, and then I'll just go like that, and when I don't mess it up, it's pretty good. I get about 80 or 67, 68, which isn't terrible. Off a down forward 2, it's pretty, or my fault. From wall rising 1-2, that's not too bad. Holy crap. Holy crap. So this one's tricky just because of the way you have to hit that first up forward 1, and it's just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it depends on the range. So yeah, so I think that's one of those few exceptions where you do have to kind of keep it under, where you have to hit them 3 times, maybe. I've never had that situation before, but the first time for everything. Let me think. I guess it really is 3. Now I think about it, because this is considered 1 hit, and then same with this. They're not considered launch until the 2nd hit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, and that thing I showed you guys before, off axis. Holy crap. Assuming they hit the wall. You gotta hit the wall. Now, if you do, again, if you do the rage drive, you have to end it quick. Because they drop. So back 1 or whatever you want to end it with should work. Ugh. That might be too close, yeah. That's why I always try to do the backflip kind of thing. There you get 71. Not too bad for a 14 frame launcher, more or less. It's not too bad. I think that's pretty much it. I guess the last thing, and like I said, this is pretty much exclusive to Gisa's stage. Wall breaking. And it's all relatively similar. There's not really much else going on with it. Give me a second. Ugh. All right, so kind of the same things. Let's see. So, oh no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted you off and you to stop following me. So for her best wall break or whatever, I would still say down 4 1 4 is the best option. You'll have a few other options. For example, come on. Oh, I guess that doesn't work. 4 4 3 plus 4. 4 4 4. But I think down 4 1 4 is the best option as far as like a quick way to do it if you know it's gonna hit. But trying to think. I think there's better options. I could have sworn there was a better. Trying to. It might have been the angle. Okay, yeah, that was it. I think that was it, or at least one of them. Gets 70 damage. It's not too bad. Got two wall breaks out of that, which isn't too bad. Trying to think what else there is. It's all really the same. The only problem with that move is that it angles too much, and practice mode specifically. So it's a harder. I guess if I really wanted to, yeah, you just gotta back up. And it's same stuff. Oh my god. Oh, you know what? I don't even know why I didn't even think about that. So about 67, not too bad. $68, not too bad. And then you basically just, if you're in rage, you just end at the same. You just end it with the rage instead. Now this will be very scaled because you broke 2 walls. I think it's like 28 damage or 28% or something, or 19%. It's a lot weaker, but it's still 82 damage from a move that's not usually a launcher, obviously. Or same thing. Pretty much, pretty standard. Not too bad. 90 damage. Can't complain. But I think that's going to be it for me, guys. I don't want to. I spent a lot of time on this. Again, I'm going to have to go through and edit so that it's not as long as it is. I will be putting timestamps in the description. Just keep in mind that while I'm editing, I might do an edit and then I may not get to redoing the timestamps immediately. So you might see punishment at an hour and some odd time or something like that, and it may not match up. If that ends up being the case, that's why, because I already did an edit, and so I had to do that. So I just haven't gotten to fixing it in the description yet, and that's all that is. Because keep in mind, when I do that, I have to more or less watch this over and over and over again, and I don't typically have that long all the time, so it's just a matter of timing. But in any event, I hope this shows you guys some stuff. Hopefully it made understanding Zafina a little easier. I did make sure to try to be as descriptive as possible, so that hopefully you might be able to get in a few anti-Zafina stuff in there as well. But in any event, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys learned something. I hope this helped. And I hope you guys enjoy this character as much as I do. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.